Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm really looking forward to showing you this gorgeous Art Options Rouge collection from our friends at 49 and Market. This has all the easy-to-use elements we know and love about 49 and Market in a gorgeous pink, red, and green color combination. So let's take a closer look, and we can start with our paper pack. Now this contains 28 sheets of 6 by 8 inch paper. You'll have 3 each of 9 double-sided pattern papers, plus 1 fussy cut element sheet. So as I'm flipping through here, you can see these beautiful designs, lots of soft colors, as well as those beautiful bold watercolor florals. Lots of different designs that are easy to mix and match for your cards or whatever your paper crafting projects are. They've incorporated some butterflies as well as some geometric designs in here too. Super simple to use and just a lot of fun as well. So 28 sheets included in there. Then there's also a set of laser cut embellishments. Now this contains 97 pieces from frames and tickets to florals and faux postage. And you can see because these are laser cut, they're just going to pop right out of your backing sheet. And then you can use glue or sticky specs or foam tape to add them onto your card or your paper craft. We've also got a set of rub-ons. Now this contains 6 sheets. I'll flip this over so that you can see them a little bit better, each with a different design. So you'll have everything from text to borders. You've got some botanicals. You've got a full sheet of gorgeous butterflies in here. There's also an applicator tool included too. Then we've also got 2 very fun decorative tape sets. There's the fabric tape assortment, which comes in this nice box, along with a cutting tool in here too. Thought it might be a little bit easier to see these on a piece of white cardstock. So here you can see the 4 different rolls, ranging from a 2.5 inch wide floral pattern to a 1 inch wide tapestry floral, and 2 rolls of coordinating 1/2 inch wide designs. Now because they're fabric, they give a really beautiful tactile effect to your project. Then last but not least, we have a roll of postage stamp washi with perforated images that can be used individually or as borders. Now there are 9 different designs in here. And again, I put them onto a piece of white cardstock so you can see those even better. So as you can see, we have a lot to explore today, and I am so glad you're here. Come play with us. This card is a perfect example of how easily these elements come together. Here's the pattern paper that I used for my card background, and you can see this pretty heart shape in the floral design. So you could either emphasize this by using it on a larger card base or maybe a square-shaped card or even a scrapbook page, or you could simply let it be a beautiful background as I've done here. So I've trimmed the piece down so that it's slightly smaller than my card front, which I've covered with another sheet of pattern paper from the collection. I'm using the 12 circle and scallop cutting dies from hot off the press to create a base for my rub-on sentiment. And then I embellished it with some of the laser cut elements. So I've popped up a lot of these onto foam tape. And you can see here with the laser cut embellishments, they really just punch right out of that backing sheet. So they're super simple to use. And I love coordinating them together with layers of foam tape to create some depth and dimension. So I've got my main circle piece. This has been popped up on foam tape. I did a little bit of inking around the outside edge with the Midas Gold ink pad. And then I've got these various elements layered up on a couple of different layers of foam tape. Same with this. And then I've even got a butterfly tucked down here. Now she's just glued straight onto my background paper, so no foam tape down here. Then for the inside of my card, I have a strip of the fabric tape. So this is the really wide fabric tape, and I've just positioned this down on the inside of my card, and I use scissors to trim off any excess top and bottom. Now I have a laser cut border, this beautiful crocheted border here, and I've got a little bit of washi postage here, plus another layered circle with more rub-ons. Now, adding rub-ons to a surface is really easy, and you can also incorporate other elements or media too. So let me show you this card here. Now with this card, I have the foliage rub-ons applied onto my floral background paper. You can see some black splattering on here. Now this is dye-based ink. I've also added some fabric tape and washi postage on here, and on top of all of it is a layered laser focal. So let me grab my rub-ons and paper and we can take a look. Rub-ons are a non-porous material, so if I want to add a watery medium into my card project, I need to make sure that I do that part before I add my rub-ons, because otherwise that watery medium won't dry on top of this slick, non-porous surface. So better to splatter first and then add the rub-ons on top, as I've done to create this effect on here. So I'm working on my craft mat. That's going to be really important for not only using as a palette, but also cleanup. I'm going to move aside my rub-on sheet here as well, and I'm just going to work with my pattern paper. Now I'm working with the Prism ink pads. These are from Hunky Dory, and these are all dye-based ink pads. And I want this rich, beautiful charcoal black. So what I'm going to do is simply take that ink pad and press it onto my craft mat. And then I'm going to take a watery brush. Now this is a water brush. I'm using it like a paintbrush. I'm just dipping this into some water and then dipping my brush into that puddle of ink to create a bit of a watery wash. Now, the more water I use, the more diluted the ink will be. So you can kind of play with how light you want that charcoal black to be. Then I'm going to position my water brush, or you could use a paintbrush, of course, perpendicular to my paper, and I'm going to tap it. And you can see that beautiful black spattering on here. You can do as much or as little as you want, and you can also, of course, play with the direction in which your ink is splattering. And then all I need to do is just clean this up off of my craft mat, and I'm ready to go. Now for the next step, I do want to make sure that my ink is completely dry. I can let this air dry if I want to. I could also give it a quick zip zap with my heat tool and speed up that dry time, but it shouldn't take too long to dry. Now I can add my rub-ons on top. So I'm going to bring back in that rub-on sheet so we can see this. You've got lots and lots of images packed onto each one of these sheets. And what I recommend that you do is grab a pair of scissors and trim around the outside edge of the piece that you want to transfer. You don't have to get in all of the little innies, just kind of chopping it out from the background will help. And that way you won't get any accidentally transferred where you don't want them to be. Do keep both of these pieces together though, so you can see there's a liner sheet on here. All right, so I've got some foliage that I've just trimmed out from another sheet. And what I'll do is separate the two pieces. So got this backing piece on here. I'm trying not to get my fingers on the imagery of that beautiful foliage. And then I'll just kind of play with the positioning. I'm going to set this down right here. Now because the rub-ons are translucent, you can still see my spattering underneath here. I'm going to smooth this down really well. And then I'll simply burnish to get the transfer image transferred onto my background piece. So you've got this little tool that also comes with the rub-on set. And all you need to do is just burnish this image. So I'm using fairly firm pressure. You don't need to get a real upper arm workout with this one, but a bit of firm pressure all over the design. So make sure you get to the tips of that foliage and all kinds of coverage on here. And you'll just keep going until you think you might have all of that image transferred. And then what I like to do is just pull up one little corner and gently lift to see if I have anything still on my backing sheet. I can see I've got a little piece here that I didn't get. So go back and lay that back down and just continue the process until all of this has been transferred. Okay, so I'm walking this off. I think I may have done it. Yep, there we go. So now I have my image transferred onto my splattered background. And now I can add other elements if I want to. So if I wanted to add a little bit of the fabric tape, I've pulled off a little snippet of this. Maybe I want to just place a piece down here, kind of overlapping. Got that down there. And I've got one of the postage washi pieces. Maybe I'll place this here. And then maybe I'll punch out some of the laser cut embellishments. Grab this little flower and position this here. Maybe I'll pop this up with a little bit of foam tape. And there I've created a really simple, easy collage. I've got lots of nice layers. If you could touch this, you would be able to feel the rub-on. Also, of course, that beautiful soft paper. You've got the tactile, beautiful fabric tape on here, as well as the washi. And then, of course, your paper embellishment on top. So this is a great way to create a simple and easy card focal. And that's what I've done here. So I'm going to bring back in my card and we can take another look here. I've trimmed the piece down, inked the edges with black, and then just placed it right onto my card front. I've got some nice dimension with the foam taped flowers and the butterfly up here. And the postage washi has my message as my card focal. Then for the card inside, I have a really simple collage. I've got another rub-on layered with a washi postage piece, plus a laser cut butterfly. This card also features some splattering using the charcoal ink, but this time I've splattered it directly onto my white card base. And I like how this adds some texture without taking away from the fabric tape border or from the message in here. So my card focal is a piece of pattern paper with the You Fill My Heart sentiment rub-on. Then I have a laser cut frame on top, and this is popped up with foam tape. So here's another one of the frames that you get in the collection. And what I like to do is just take some foam tape, cut the piece in half widthwise, and then position it down so that I'm right up along this edge, but I'm not covering any of that beautiful intricate cutout on the laser cut. So I go around all four sides, and then I have a piece that pops up really nicely and just adds some fun depth and dimension to the piece. So then I've got some more laser cut accents overlapping the frame. I've got this heart that goes along with the message, of course, and then also this sentiment on here. The border is a combination of 3 fabric tapes. You can see the 3 of them here. So I've got the middle width one, and then I've got this beautiful tapestry and the solid on here. They all work beautifully individually, but I love having them as a collection. So I've just placed those down onto the front of my card and then trimmed off top and bottom with a pair of scissors. And I've also got a little bit of a rub-on border just peeking up at the bottom and also at the top. Then for my card inside, I have another strip of the fabric tape. Now this is the wide floral one, and I've got this on top of some pattern paper. Now covering the seam, I have a laser cut border. And my card message is here on this little postage washi piece. So this is a fun way, again, to combine some of those elements on there, and nice to use the frame to create a nice focal element for my message. Now this card also has a frame, but this one is actually cut into the front panel of the card. I'm using hot off the presses rectangle and scallop dies to make a window. And this is a great way to use your layering shape dies, not only the rectangle, but also the circle and the square. So let's take a look. I'm going to start with my blank white card. Now this is pre-scored. I'm going to leave it open, and I'm going to take my die. So I've got the rectangle die, and I can figure out, do I want it to be right in the middle? Do I want it off to the side, maybe up toward the top, wherever you want that to go? Figure out where that place is, and then position this down, secure it down with a little bit of low-tack tape. Now it's important, remember to keep your card open so that you don't accidentally cut through both sides of it. So run that through your die cutting machine and you will have a piece that looks like this. Now, before you do your die cutting, you can decide if you want to first cover your card front with your pattern paper. You can opt for either one of those. I decided to cover my card front with the pattern paper and even added in my fabric tape there before I did my die cutting. So either way will go. So now you have your window, and then what you want to do is create the frame to go around it. So using the scalloped piece that is slightly larger than my window, I've cut a piece from this beautiful green pattern paper. So I've got that piece. Then I'm going to go back to my rectangle, same one that I used here, place this on here, secure the two together with some low tack tape and run it through the die cutting machine. And then I will have this frame. And then what I can do is secure this down right over that window. I like to use the sticky specs for this. I think it just gives me a little bit more control. And then I can decorate from there. I can figure out which part of a pattern paper I might like to have kind of peeking out from here. I use this portion here, and then go ahead and decorate your card as you wish. So bringing back in my original card here, we can see I've got a nice cluster of layered laser cut elements here. Here's that washi tape. The fabric tape. I've actually got two strips of it. I've got that dark kind of a burgundy and then the floral on top. I've got two layers of pattern paper here. So all of that was in place before I did my die cutting. And then I can accent around with a laser cut bow. I've got my sentiment here. And then for my card inside, I have another strip of another one of the fabric tape. So this one here, as well as my pattern paper. I've got some rub-ons here with the butterflies, and then also some laser cut floral elements here too. Super simple and a lot of fun to put those shaped cutting dies to work. Now, my final card project for us today is a little mini envelope. Now, this is great fun for tucking in a note or a gift card, and it's so easy to do as well. So I'm using the mini envelope and gift card holder die. Of course, you know, this is one of my favorites. And I'm using the smaller die, so this one right here, and that's going to create this little shape here. So this is a super simple process to do. All you need to do is get your die, and then you're going to figure out which part of your pattern paper you want to have captured with the top or the inside of your folded envelope. So you can see here, this is the area that I've used from this pattern paper. And then what I'll do is kind of scoot this here, figure out where I want it to go, secure it down with some low tack tape. And then what I've done is chopped around the outside with a pair of scissors. And you'll notice on the reverse side of this, which will be this area, is different than what I have here. This is my wide fabric tape. So after I chopped this out, I've taken my fabric tape and secured it onto the back and then ran it through my die cutting machine. So when you do this, you'll notice that the tape is just wide enough for the envelope, but it is not wide enough to go over these flaps. And that doesn't really matter because they get tucked in anyway. And then once you've die cut that, you can just fold up your piece and you've got a really sweet little pocket. Now I've decorated the outside with some of the laser cut elements. And then for my piece that goes inside, this is one of the laser cut elements. I've got some rub-ons going on here. I've got one of the postage washi pieces, and I have a little butterfly that's popped up on some foam tape, and that just gets tucked right inside. And this is our final project of the day today. A big thank you to our friends at 49 and Market for these really fabulous supplies. I just had so much fun playing with them and could have kept going and going and going. A special thanks to you for joining me today. We're really glad you're here, and we're happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Please do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, just see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.